In today's video, we'll be going over the 5 things that you need which are essential in the gym. Nothing that's fancy or expensive. Number 1, yourself. Now, apart from the cliche-ness, being accountable to yourself and your own workouts, which means to turn up to your workouts, is very important. When you first start off in the gym, everything is so new and everything is so interesting. So that new motivation that you develop from just wanting to go to the gym and capitalize on it to build a structure and a habit of working out consistently, which will help you in the long run. An example of this would be to pre-plan what you will be doing in the gym when you go in that day. So let's say you're working out in the evening and on the way home from school, you've decided just to go on your logbook or wherever you track your workout, what you're going to be hitting later on in the day. So benching, what you need to bench, and you just get familiar and like visualize yourself doing the actual weights, doing the actual bench press. And in doing so, when you actually go into the gym, you don't waste your time loading on some wrong weight and then feeling it's too easy or too heavy or ego lifting. Instead, you know what you're doing, you don't waste time in the gym, and that way you're in and out. Number 2, friends. Now, the thing with friends is a bit of pros and cons. Having a gym partner at the beginning can be very fun because messing around with them and just the whole experience of working out becomes that much more fun because you have someone to spend time with and make memories with and just see progress with. Which means when you're first starting out, that habit of consistently working out becomes that much easier since you're more excited and looking forward to actually going to the gym session where you can spend time with your gym partner. Not only that, but the camaraderie that you get between friends and just the bonding experience, and also the added motivation and the push and the drive that you get from your friends is another benefit which could actually help you to do more or be able to push that extra rep. Taken to another extreme, they push you too hard or you just feel that you need to be impressing your friends, so you load up the bar way heavier than you can actually do or what you usually do, and in turn what happens is you ego lift.
You stupid.
Which you should be trying to avoid. And other times, friends can muck around too much, and the gym isn't the best place to muck around because, let's be real, you're probably going to get injured. Gym bros are definitely an asset, but if you don't pick the right ones, they'll become a liability. Also, even if you do not have friends when you first start out in the gym, or none of your friends do work out and you've tried insisting them or even requesting them to come over but they just don't like it, you can also make friends at the gym. That's not a problem.
Unless you're a loner, of course.
Number 3, music and headphones. When it comes to what you're actually listening to, that can either be music, it can be audiobooks, it can be podcasts, or whatever you like to jam to. Whatever puts you into that primed state of wanting to work out is definitely important or gives you that additional boost when you're in the gym. In fact, you might even dedicate a single playlist just to when you're in the gym. And so when you're outside the gym, you don't listen to that playlist at all. And this signals to your brain that when this music is playing, your brain needs to get into a certain zone and is automatically primed just to start pumping, pumping iron. Another important aspect of music is that it's an external motivator, which means if you were to take yourself working out without music and then with music, because of the additional motivation, your performance is more likely to improve, which is a very important thing when it comes to working out progressive overload. Whether you actually use headphones or earphones doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're using wireless ones or try to purchase wireless ones, because the wire gets tangled in the bar or the equipment you're using, and you don't really want that to happen while you're doing a set.
Don't be a cheapskate.
Even if you don't, linked in the description below is one of the budget-friendly options that I found on Amazon when I just searched it up. Number 4, the hoodie. The hoodie actually has many practical applications. Apart from the coolness or like the actual clothing aspect where it keeps you warm and like designs, all of that. I'm talking about, it's got some sporting applications as well. That's right, sporting applications. The first one is the pump cover, which was made famous by Chris Bumstead. While you're actually doing your workout, when you first come into the gym, you wear a hoodie. And during your workout, you keep that hoodie on, even if it's getting super hot, like it's boiling, you still keep it on. Because when you're doing those sets, your muscles are getting pumped. And when you get a pump, your muscles look larger. Towards the end of the workout, whether it be the actual end or slightly just before, you take your hoodie off when you're literally dripping in sweat. No, not dripping in sweat. But you take your hoodie off somewhere towards the end of the workout, and it's almost like a reveal, like a magician, where you're showing off how pumped your muscles actually are. The second application of hoodies are do not disturb. If you've ever seen a person wearing a hoodie, like with the full hood on as well in the gym, most of the time they're alone by themselves, and it's more like a do not disturb, I'm in my zone type thing. So if you aren't with your friends, or you don't see anyone that you want to like mingle with during that gym session, and you feel that you want to really focus on yourself and pushing through the workout on that day, a hoodie is definitely a good option, because it's almost like it almost acts as if you're primed and you're isolated by yourself, ready to only focus on what the weights are and what you need to do. Which also helps for practical application number 3, which is gym intimidation. Now, when you're first starting out, there will be a lot of bigger people and huger people than you. And using a hoodie not only keeps you in that do not disturb mode, it also prevents others constantly looking onto you, which could help if you find it intimidating when
Huge guys look at you, I mean.
I'm alpha.
When you first start out in the gym, there are going to be a lot of bigger guys than you. You got to accept it. You got to face it. And by using the hoodie and isolating yourself, not all the time, because you need to socialize, you're a social creature. But when you do decide to isolate and focus on yourself, now I would want to say the best solution to actual gym intimidation and feeling like you're the smallest person is not to isolate yourself, but actually make friends with those huge people. I know they look so lifeless without them smiles, but really if you go up to them and just talk to them, they aren't that bad in general. They might even help you out. The fifth and final thing is that your shoe should be firm. Now, your firm shoe can either be flat or it can be elevated. Just make sure it doesn't have any cushioning as a sole or air. So no Air Maxes, Ultra Boost, or even normal runners like, sprinting runners, other training shoes like maybe basketball shoes. I'm not too sure about those. Just make sure whatever sole your shoe has, it's firm. Now, the firmness can either be a flat firm shoe or an elevated firm shoe. I'll show you examples of both. The reason why you want it to be firm is because when you're pressing, so let's just take the squat, when your feet are like pushing into the ground, because when you squat down you need to push back up. When your feet are pushing into the ground, you want to make sure that force from your body is going directly into the ground. We don't want any of that
Jingling.
And when you have a cushioned shoe, it's a cushion, so your force is like not moving directly through to the ground, which causes two problems. The first one is you have a higher chance of losing balance and rolling your ankle or some injury of that sort. And the second one is you won't be able to produce that much force. Both scenarios which are unfavorable. An example of firm flat shoes would be Chuck Taylors, whereas an elevated flat shoe would be something like squatting shoes or weightlifting shoes. I would recommend using the flat shoes if you're first going to purchase anything, because they can be used universally for any exercise. Now, if you can't afford some Chuck Taylors,
Shame on you.
maybe for the bench you could use runner shoes, but I still wouldn't recommend it. For any lower body compound exercises, such as especially the deadlift and squat, no running shoes at all, or cushioned air-filled shoes. And for other machine equipment, you could get away with running shoes, but try invest into a flat firm shoe. So those are the 5 things that you need when you first start in the gym. I'm assuming that unless you need to buy yourself and buy your friends, you probably most likely have the other 3 things or a combination, which means it shouldn't cost you more than $100 to get the remaining essential items. With that being said, let the gains be with you and see you in the next one.